Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Mind Pump TV. Today we're talking all things biceps, particularly the difference between the hammer curl and the traditional dumbbell curl, why you should do both. Let's get into it. Any type of arm growth you're going to want to have, you're going to need some level of growth of the forearm, of the bicep, and the tricep, but today we're really going to make a point to focus on the bicep and some of the muscles that surround it. So the two primary exercises you're going to see people doing when they attempt to grow their biceps are some type of curl where they rotate the dumbbell upward, and often some type of curl where the dumbbell comes straight up, right? So these are typically just called dumbbell curls when we do that rotational piece, and typically when we curl straight up, we call that a hammer curl. And while they look very similar, they actually work muscles quite a bit differently. So let's first talk about the bicep itself, right? That peak on the arm. So the bicep sits on the top of our arm in terms of where all those muscles lie in order of depth. And its main function is actually supination, or making your hand look like a bowl of soup and turning it in this way. A lot of people think its primary function is flexion of the elbow, or bringing the arm up. And while it does do that, one of the things the bicep does that's very unique is turn that pinky up and inward like this. So if you really want to bias or prioritize the bicep muscle specifically, you want to have a rotational element to your curl. So standing dumbbell curls, preacher curls, anything where that pinky comes in just so slightly, even if you're just cueing it mentally, is going to really help you develop the bicep. Now, let's talk about the next muscle, the brachialis. Now this muscle is what we would call deep to the bicep, or underneath it. It's going to lie underneath the big chunk of tissue of the bicep, and growing the brachialis can actually make the bicep and the whole arm look bigger. It's very simple, right? If you have something underneath the bicep, that grows, it's going to push the bicep upward and contribute to a bigger looking arm. Now the brachialis is much stronger than the biceps when it comes to flexing the elbow. So when we pull our arm up, while we do get some bicep, remember bicep primarily is going to help turn that pinky in, this is mostly going to actually be brachialis. So if you curl with your arm straight and you do not end up using any rotational element, you're actually going to be hitting a little bit more brachialis than you are bicep. But the best thing you can do to really hit that brachialis kind of in an isolated sense and keep the bicep out is simply pronate the arm. Turn the arm over. So that's your reverse grip curls. That's going to do the best job of hitting that muscle under the biceps. And it kind of makes intuitive sense, right? If supination hits that bicep in such a way, pronation, the opposite movement, is probably going to help keep the bicep out of it a little bit. So remember, traditional rotating curl is going to hit bicep a little bit more with some brachialis. Reverse grip curl is really going to isolate brachialis. Now those two muscles are going to give you that look of a large bicep that kind of pops. Now the last piece, the hammer curl, I want to talk about that as well. So hammer curls, you'll notice the dumbbell stays relatively vertical. There isn't really an accentuated element of pronation, or rather supination, and there's not a lot of pronation. The arm is very much neutral. These do a tremendous job of hitting a muscle on the side of the arm called the brachioradialis, okay? That muscle gives the arm a lot of its size through the lateral aspect or the side view and the forearm. And that's why when we often do hammer curls, you don't feel the fatigue in that like peak of the bicep, you feel it down the flush side of the arm. So here you're getting brachialis and you're getting quite a bit of brachioradialis, but you're not hitting a ton of biceps. So when it comes to complete and total growth of all of those arm muscles, specifically in that bicep area, we want to know three things, okay? You need to supinate to hit bicep. You want to pronate to really hit that brachialis, reverse grip curls, and hammer curls are going to help develop the forearm and the lateral aspect of the arm. So all three of those things together are going to give you the best opportunity to grow a nice set of biceps. Now, those are the 3 exercises that I like to recommend. The sets and repetitions I usually recommend are somewhere between 8 and 15. I don't like going crazy heavy on arms because that elbow and some of those tissues in there can get really cranky if you go really heavy. And I am impartial to using free weights for most individuals, so dumbbells are a fantastic option. And if again your goal is to grow your arms, you can do these exercises anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week, 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 15 reps should be more than sufficient looking to add weight over time. All right, guys, so just to wrap things up, remember, the hammer curl does a really good job of hitting that brachialis muscle and the brachioradialis muscle, and the traditional curl hits those guys as well, but it does bias that bicep a little more because of that supination or turning in of the hands. So if you want to grow your arms completely, you should be doing some form of both. And we have a guide just for that available to you at mindpumpfree.com. I've linked the big arm guide below in the description, so please grab that, check it out. Good luck with your arm building endeavors, and thanks again so much for tuning in to Mind Pump TV.